So once again I decided to make a game for Ludum Dare. If you don't know, Ludum Dare is a huge game development competition where you get 48 hours to create a game from scratch using only art and code you make yourself. I've participated more than 5 times now and it's just a blast every single time. It's funny how no sleep, constant programming, lots of energy drink and a stress factor over 9,000 can make for a good weekend. I guess that says a lot about us game developers. Anyway, so here's how I made a game in 2 days. But first, this video is sponsored by Core. Core is the new free game creation platform that lets you create, share and play games using the power of Unreal Engine. With Core, no coding or art skills are required. You can get started making games right away using their thousands of free, high-quality music, sound and art assets. But if you like to get more nerdy with it, Core still lets you create your own game logic in Lua and build your own levels and art with their easy-to-use tools. Best part is, you don't need to worry about some of the hassle that normally goes into making games. Core takes care of the difficult stuff such as multiplayer networking. You can build games from scratch or remix and reimagine content shared by other creators, and when you're ready to publish, your game will go live instantly on the Core platform with the click of a button. It's completely free, so I definitely encourage you to visit coregames.com or click the link in the description. Now, as soon as I woke up, I went to the Ludum Dare website to check out the theme. For this jam, it was Keep It Alive. And inspired by the old Tamagotchi games, I immediately came up with the idea to create a card game where you play cards to keep your pet from dying out. I was pretty excited about it, but for some reason when I sat down to plan the actual gameplay, I just couldn't get it to click. I think my problem was that I was trying too hard to challenge myself and create something I'd never done before, and I realized that I know almost nothing about card games, despite quite a few hours in Hearthstone. And while I think it's important to challenge yourself, sometimes if you get overwhelmed, it's totally fine to dial down the expectations and change the game to play more towards your strengths. So after hours of brainstorming, I decided to do something much less complicated, but more visual and fun. I came up with the idea of a DJ who is hosting the party of a lifetime, but a cop shows up and tries to shut it down. In other words, the DJ is trying to keep the party alive. I really wanted to do something with multiplayer, and also I've done a lot of pixel art lately, so I was really hoping to get into some 3D modeling instead. And that's how Party Killer was born, a top-down 1v1 shooter with lots of music and neon lights. And with that, it was time to jump into Unity. I started by setting up a quick test level, threw in some quick lighting to set the mood and created 2 simple player characters, one for the DJ and one for the police. Just pretend that that looks like a police hat. I then spent a lot of time trying to get Unity's new input system to work with multiple controllers. I decided to go with gamepad controls since I wanted to give the game a fun, casual feel. And after lots of time looking at documentation, it worked. The players were moving around the level. I then added shooting with lots of particles and glow. And normally I would spend most of the time at this early stage working on the base mechanics. But I just felt really inspired to play around with some of the visuals. So I started making trippy shaders to spice up the level. I created a disco shader that imitated light from a disco ball and a sea of cubes that would rise up and down. I would have loved to have these actually react to the music and sound effects, but I simply didn't have the time. Instead, I scaled them up and down based on a simple Perlin noise. And honestly, I think the result turned out pretty great. It's definitely not performant. The level had over 500 cube game objects, each with their own script, but hey, it's a game jam, it's not meant to be perfect. I then made the game restart when a player got hit, and at this point the game was fun, but it definitely lacked some depth. There wasn't much strategy to it, and it was hard to get better at the game other than by improving your aim. So I decided to take a quick nap and come back to it. And after lying awake for half an hour thinking about the game, I realized that it needed 2 important things. First, the bullets should be able to bounce off of walls. This would give the game a whole new dimension because you need to really think about how you can use the level to your advantage. Second, the player should be able to hold up to 3 bullets. After shooting your bullets, they will slowly recharge one by one. This forces the players to be economical with their bullets, and to think about whether or not it's best to spend them all at once or save some for later. I also added some quick UI to display how many bullets each player has and a join screen for connecting controllers. And right away, we were having much more fun playing the game. Now, normally during Ludum Dare, we get together a bunch of friends and set up shop in the office over the weekend. But this time, since everyone was still working from home, we hung out in Discord instead. And man, was that fun! We constantly shared our screens so we could see what each other were working on and help out if anyone had issues. It's always really great to follow each other's progress as you get further into the jam. And at this point my game was starting to come together. But playing over and over on the same level was getting kind of boring. So inspired by multi-games in CSGO, I decided to have the level change every time a player dies. For this I chose to go with the same type of level loading that I did in Date Night, where I would load a level scene with the level layout and obstacles on top of a base scene that had the player's camera and game manager. And that was pretty much it for day 1. I went to bed feeling pretty good about what I had so far, but there was still a long way to go. The next day I jumped right into Buscasoy and started working on the music, because you can't have a party game without some party music. I knew that I wanted to go for something electronic and intense, but I wasn't sure exactly what genre. I tried my luck with trance, then dubstep, which I found out was pretty hard to do only using chiptunes, and then finally landed on, well, whatever this is. As crazy as it is, when I put it into the game, it fit perfectly. And then it was graphics time. Of course, the game still had only one level, but it was graphics time. I used a vertex displacement shader to turn the player from a boring sphere into a living incarnation of music. Or just a weird blob. I guess that's a matter of perspective. Oh, and by the way, the shader looked super cool if you dialed it up a bunch. I would have loved to use that in the game if I'd had more time. In fact, I just liked the effect so much that I decided to add it to the bullets as well. I then jumped into Blender and started modeling some obstacles to place around the level. I created a long wall, a short wall, and a square thingy. I'm by no means a 3D artist, but after adding some glow in Unity, I think it actually managed to come together pretty well. And having run out of excuses of other stuff to do, it was time to create some levels. And it was actually really fun, because with the way the levels were set up with these rising cubes, I could vary the level size and shape on top of just placing around obstacles. This gave way for some interesting levels that felt really different when playing. I then added a score counter UI that would pop up between levels and got to work on some sound effects. For this I used a tool I hadn't tried before called Leshy Sound Effects Maker. It's a browser-based sound generator that can be used to quickly generate and manipulate electronic sound effects. I was really impressed with this tool, and after playing around with it for less than an hour, I managed to get a good list of sounds that fit the rest of the game. Finally, I added trails to the bullets to make it clear what direction they are traveling, and spent the final half hour creating some more levels. In total, I ended up with 10 different levels, which I was pretty happy with. And then, after a bunch of playtesting, I exported the game and submitted it to the event. This is me at 5 in the morning, tired and happy. And that's pretty much it for this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss the next one. If you want to play and rate the game, there's of course a link in the description. And I'll make sure to include links to all the cool games created by friends during the jam as well. Also, don't forget to check out Core. It's completely free. Just visit coregames.com or click the link in the description. On that, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks to all the awesome Patreon supporters who donated in March, and a special thanks to Ville Vertanen, Lost to Violence Love Forever, Faisal Marify, Leo Lisette, Nobby Ninja, Jim Schubert Jazz, Daniel Dusanik, Dan DeSam, Jacob Sanford, Marc-Antoine Girard, Naoki Wasaki, Gregory Pierce, Michael Korobov, The Mighty Zeus, Owen Cooper, Elson the Fierce, Erasmus, Yijit Kaya, Ismail Lukusa, and Sirius Wolf. You guys rock!